Carmelo Anthony taking home Player of the Week honors so early in his return from a year-long hiatus was definitely surprising. The reaction to that news was not. Anthony's impressive numbers, which came in a 3-0 week for Portland, do pale in comparison to those of James Harden or Luka Doncic. But the mostly negative reaction to what should have been a feel-good story reminds us that when it comes to future Hall of Famers, few are more polarizing than Melo. So where does this divide come from? Why does Anthony remain so revered by one group, mostly his peers, while the rest of the basketball world seems so eager to discard him? Let's break it down. On one side, Melo's detractors see a volume shooter who was never able to score as efficiently as the truly great offensive talent of his era. If you take the top 50 scorers since Anthony was drafted, his true shooting percentage of 54.2 ranks 36th. Doubters see a one-way player who was often a defensive liability, and a perennial all-star who made it past the first round of the playoffs just twice, while never advancing further than the conference finals. Maybe you still hold his infamous punch-and run at Madison Square Garden against him. I'm sure Marty Collins fans do, if such people exist. Anthony also took a lot of flack for the way he engineered his way out of Denver and into New York. Rather than simply waiting to sign with an up-and-coming Knicks team as a free agent in the summer of 2011, Melo pushed his way to the Knicks via trade in the middle of the 2010-11 season.
Man, right now, I'm leaving my options open, right now.
That deal, which forced the Knicks to give up a chunk of their promising young core and a bunch of future assets, ensured Anthony could further maximize his value in free agency. It's also part of the reason New York was rarely able to build competitive teams around him. Things have gone mostly downhill for Anthony since the end of that Knicks tenure. In OKC, the veteran laughed at the notion of coming off the bench, even though the role may have suited him at that point.
Coming off the bench. And the second question is...
Well, me?
Oh. I guess that answers that part.
I don't know where that started, where that came from. Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
Anthony's Houston experiment lasted only 10 games before the Rockets let him go. And until he resurfaced in Portland, the only basketball images we saw of him over the last year were of Hoodie Melo working out in an empty gym. But what about the other side? Say what you will about his efficiency and shot selection, but the man is one of only 22 players in NBA history to amass 25,000 career points. And only LeBron James has scored more since 2003. While fans may roll their eyes at what they perceive to be another bad shot, fellow NBAers marvel at Anthony's ability to get his shot off and the Sam Cassells it takes to launch a plethora of big shots at the highest level. Among his peers, there also seems to be a sense of honor in the fact that while most chirped Anthony for not adapting to the modern game, he continued to play his game, jab-stepping his way to renegade status among players who feel the sport is changing too quickly for their liking.
Anthony for three.
We should point out, however, that Anthony did seem adaptable in Houston's analytically friendly system, with nearly 53% of his shot attempts last season coming from three-point territory compared to only 13% coming from the dreaded long two range. And about that infamous brawl at MSG. Look, I get that an NBA star throwing one punch and then practically retreating to the parking lot to avoid retribution still makes for great content all these years later. But don't let one unfortunate incident on the court cloud your judgment of someone who, by all accounts, is one of the league's true humanitarians off of it. In recent years, you could find Anthony calling for peace in his hometown of Baltimore while marching in the Freddie Gray protests, or becoming a driving force in the crowdfunding efforts to assist Puerto Rico after the island was ravaged by Hurricane Maria. In fact, Anthony, who's half Puerto Rican, has been doing community work on the island for over a decade. Ask younger stars who share Team USA limelight with Anthony about him, and they'll regale you with tales of his unforgettable leadership. And who could forget that wholesome hug in New Orleans? Come to think of it, maybe the Stay Melo marketing campaign created for his 2014 free agency was never supposed to be about Melo staying in one place, but rather about Melo staying true to himself, staying true to the nature of Melo. The point is, when it comes to Carmelo Anthony, there doesn't have to be a line in the sand. You can maintain your views about the efficiency of modern basketball while still rooting for an aging star to succeed. and without wasting your time getting upset over a damn Player of the Week award. Sit back and enjoy what's left of a Hall of Fame career and a symbol of a bygone era, regardless of how you think Anthony stacks up all time. Stay mellow and appreciate every 3 to the dome while you still can. Don't take it or him for granted. Legends may live forever, but they don't play forever. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button.